Thank you for watching us. This morning, we bring you the biography of Executive Director Owek.Mutesi Christine Magezi. Currently, is Executive Director, Women Initiatives in Poverty Eradication, WIPE Uganda, an organization that has transformed the lives of women in the Eastern region. His base, high emphasis has been on the end of gender-based violence and domestic violence in the homes, all those vulnerable women and teenage mothers. In a sit-down discussion, we need to learn more. Who is Mutesi Christine Magezi, her background, and the genesis of WIPE Uganda? Follow us in our episodes, and you know more about the genesis of WIPE Uganda. Thank you.
Mutesi Christine is a girl child born in Kamuli, in a village called Chibeto, to the late Weduma George and the late Elizabeth Nakanwaji Liz. I am number 5 in order of birth, though I'm my mother's firstborn. I am born in a family of 19. I am number 5. Yes, Deborah Mutesi Christine went to school at Luzinga Church of Uganda Primary School, P1 up to P6. Then P7 she went to Buktimbo Primary School, all in Kamuli. She went to Bukoyo for secondary. She went to Luzinga for secondary also, and finally April College India in Kampala. Then she went to Chambogo University and pursued her education there, up to where she is now. I never experienced mother love. I never felt anything called a mother because I never saw my mother. I saw her when, I think, on her deathbed. So I never knew what a mother is to me, but I grew up with my father, who used to call me his handbag. My father was an administrator in Uganda Hospital. So I grew up in Uganda Hospital until 19-something, when my father left Uganda Hospital for the Sabala Road Clinic. Some of the memories, apart from that, I remember when my father lost the job in Uganda Hospital. He was depressed, but he had very many women. My father was polygamous, but those women would not even raise food for home because he had lost the job and he was hopeless. So I sat my father down, and by that time 100 shillings would buy food at home, but we couldn't even raise it. So I told my father, our house was Bugaga Bukomye, those houses in the villages that are for the rich. I sat him in a porch and told him, you know what, Dad? When I grow up, I want to, that was in P4, I want to start an NGO that will fight for women's rights and will enable women work and can also provide for home. So my father was like, you're joking? I told him yes. So another memory, I think I was 11 around then. Then my father died in 1999 on 12th of April. But before he died, I'd lost my father, my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, Reverend Joshua Chibedi in Swem. So I'd gone for burial. But before I went for burial, my father told me, you will not find me here. I may die before you come back. But be reminded of this. You said when you grow up, you will make sure you start an NGO. Keep it and make sure you fulfill it. Secondly, my father died of HIV, and it left me with these wall paintings that my daughter, don't drown in the AIDS fluid. always be on board. Those are some of the vivid memories I have while growing up. I think one other thing was the gender roles. We grew up when boys were so special in our families. We grew up when girls would go and fetch water, would cook, would do this. And as I was growing up, I think I was a unique child. I told my dad, when I grow up on top of that organization, and that organization will be promotion of rights, I want to see the roles shared. Because what a woman can do, a man can do. And as I talk now, I am living to the dreams of me and my father.
Why do you speak more of the father than the mother?
Yeah, my father was not rich, but he prioritized education. And I was my father's darling because he raised me by himself because I didn't have a mother. And he never risked to give me too much to the stepmoms. Maybe he knew their ways. I went to Luzinga, Church of Uganda Primary School. It is just a village next to ours. It is a village school. It is a church-founded school. And we were working on food, so we were not rich. But I just had a vision. I would tell my father every day, I want to be better. I want to learn. I grew up as a lazy child. I had a brain, but my hands were lazy. I could not dig. I could not cook. So for me, they would leave me at home to cook for them porridge. But even when they told me to cook porridge, I wouldn't cook porridge. So my father was like, he would even say it in Lusoga, Chechana mchireke, because she will not eat because of digging. She will eat because she will have read her books and she will be buying food from people that dig. So I lived by that. I wanted to make sure, one, I don't disappoint my father. Two, because I was lazy, I could not afford to plant rice, wait for the season, and then get money. So I said, okay, let me study hard. And my father died in 1999, so I went to my maternal side, because he would always tell me, my daughter, when I die, I don't see any relative that will continue with your education. Go to your maternal side, they will look after you. And when he died, I went.
Tell us the life after the death of your father, because he loved you so much.
Life after death of my father was bad. One, my father knew my all. My father was my everything. So, but what woke me up, one of my stepmothers, when dad died, she told me, Akusigula fide. Like the one who has been misleading you or making you feel good has gone. Let us see what you will do. That statement woke me up. So I was like, okay, now my father is not here. What else?
Do you think parents and relatives helped you? Or did the relatives at one moment of time force you to marry at that tender age?
Sometimes they put you to a point that you have no choice but to decide how they are, like for example, decide on what to do, decide to do what they want, because they put you in a squeezed place. You have no school fees, but you have no other option. You're looking at them, but they are looking at marriage as a solution. So what you do, you follow them. But for me, I refused because my father told me no relative would pay my school fees except my maternal side.
Who was Mutesi, especially at the early adolescent age? We look at boys now trying to lure you down.
I was a stubborn girl and boys feared to approach me. I was at losing SS and I don't remember. Whoever boy would want to come to me, first of all, I was putting on a very shabby skirt. Two, I didn't have shoes. My shoes were worn out. When it would rain, you make sure you don't step on the ground because the shoes would have water in them. And three, the life was not so good. I didn't have money. I didn't have upkeep. As in, so when I was at losing SS, I think that was early of my secondary. I remember in our village we had a man who proposed to me, but my father was alive. So I told him jokingly, "Wait, when my father dies, you come." So when my father died, this man came back to me. That very night, I gave him a hot slap. To date, he remembers that hot slap, but says it was good for me because if I hadn't done that, he was ready to spoil my future. He still lives in Tibet, and he knows himself. So for me, I was very stubborn, but very bright in class, and I knew what to do when stubbornness was among my fellow students. But with teachers, I would mean business. I would have, and I would be in the council of boys. I wanted to be among boys. Because one, I knew boys would help me discuss and go do a better thing. And I knew if I was with girls, we would do girl talks.
Now, after school, why didn't you choose medicine? Because it looks that it was the background that you were coming from.
I fear injections. That is the reason why I didn't go for medicine. Not because I didn't pass, because I got a 25 by then. It was a first grade. But I did not want education. I did not want to go to do medicine, although I didn't want to be a teacher. I went to education because it was on government sponsorship, and I didn't want my uncles to overspend. So I chose to go for education because it was government sponsorship.
Now, you become a teacher. Had you dreamt one day of becoming a teacher?
I didn't want to be a teacher. That is why I have been in class for a few years. I was in class for not more than 5 years.
So what was your preferred profession?
I wanted to be a statistician. Yeah. Or lawyer. Because while I was growing up, I was very stubborn. We would fight at the Boer Hall, but I would go and report the case very fast, earlier than the person I beat. Maybe then from there, I would reason out. So my father would call me a lawyer. So I had two professions. I wanted to be either a statistician or a lawyer.
Now, how do you begin the profession of teaching? Tell us about that experience.
I was a teacher at the Tropical High School. By the immediately after school, I went for school practice at Faith High School, Sonde. There, I was, because I wanted the other thing of lawyer, I found when they were paying teachers very little money. So I advocated for high pay. So I was sacked, and the teachers, their salary was increased. So I acted as a sacrifice. Then from Faith High School, I went to Yefe High School as a bursar. Yefe is found in Seta, Mukono. Then after touching the man of a bursar, I did not want to go elsewhere without money. Though after I went to Tropical High School, Kabalagala, as a head of department business, where I had an entrepreneurship club that was giving me money every day as if I was a bursar.
Tell us about that experience. Your first day in class.
When I was teaching at Tropical High School, I picked interest because I was teaching one of the best subjects and I was the best teacher. Entrepreneurship. Yeah. Children were passing, I was teaching A-level. Children were passing. Oh, I was like happy. But what made me completely give up on teaching, I usually share, is I was at Kamuli Community. So this boy, I taught for 80 minutes. I was teaching paper 1, entrepreneurship, that has accounting. The boy is called Maboya. So after the 80 minutes, the teacher is doing self-evaluation. Have you understood? This boy puts up his hand and says, "Madam, I've not understood." So he says, I tell him, from which point? "Madam, everything." That's what he said. Like, From that moment, I did not teach again. I left class because I was very disappointed. My God, you know, when a child, there are those children that have get attraction from other people. So when he says everything, the whole class was like, everything. I was like, okay, I am gone. So I went to the director and told him, I am not going back to class.
You can write more of this in our second edition.